Next up, we have for Knights of Columbus, the fall preview, Beatification of Father McGivney. And in studio, we have Sergio Meranda. Sergio, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And what do you have for us for Knights of Columbus and the fall preview?
Well, definitely aloha, but we are here in Belmont at the St. Joseph Seminary. So greetings from Belmont. I wanted to share the excitement the Knights of Columbus have all across the globe. Our founder, Father Michael J. McGivney, is to be beatified on October 31st of this year. What a momentous occasion it is for the Knights of Columbus, and even all Catholics, right? That a parish priest from the Americas is to be beatified. So it's also a wonderful time for the Knights of Columbus to be really fulfilled with a founder that is so close to sainthood. So I will weave a story of the three Michaels in this afternoon. So the first Michael is obviously Venerable Michael J. McGivney. In 1852, he was born in America that was being torn by the Civil War. So the war finally ended when he was a teen. So number two, he was born in a large family. He was the first son of 13. 6 of them passed away early, so it wasn't an easy life back then. So he was born a Catholic when Catholicism was outwardly hated, and for their so-called allegiance to the Pope. Born as an immigrant, when the immigrant class was the Irish, the Polish, and the Italians coming from Europe, they were treated as the second-class citizens. So he was also born as the first son, so he fell in the footsteps of his father, who worked in a brass mill, so back-breaking work, and he was expected as the first son to become the next one to take over. So it took 3 years for Michael McGivney to convince his father that his calling was to become a priest. 3 years. So by age 16, he joined the seminary, but he ended early because his father passed away. So he had to come back home and make that difficult decision of whether to, do I continue with my my calling, or do I go back and help with the family? So the bishop actually saw the priestly, the piety in Father Michael McGivney, and he paid for his last year of seminary, and then he became a priest at St. Mary's in Connecticut. So he became a parish priest. So he was definitely a part of the parish, and his notoriety was so big that even the non-Catholics will come to hear him speak. So he was definitely not just a Sunday priest. He was out there helping the families within the parish, because that came from his heart, right? The widows, the orphans, he lived that, and he's trying to help them out. So rightfully so, he had a soft spot for the widows and orphans. Truly a man serving God and his people. So in 1881, Father Michael McGivney wanted to organize the men of the parish and band them together. He put up signs for that first meeting. Hey, come to the parish. Come meet. We're trying to gather all the men of the parish. And guess what happened? It was a rousing failure. So, of course, right? So not enough people showed, not enough interest. Sounds all very too familiar these days. But the subsequent tries, and finally in 1882, the first council of the Knights of Columbus was formed. Thank goodness, right? This organization was not only formed to help the widows and the orphans, but to bring together the Catholic leaders and solve those Catholic issues that they had of the day. So that's truly what the Knights of Columbus were. it is widows and orphans. But it is truly trying to bring together all of the Catholic leaders and solve the Catholic problems of that day. So we are still doing that today. So fast forward 100 plus years, 2 million more men, and yes, the Knights of Columbus are pancakes and French fries, but we are also patriots, defenders of life, and faith in action. This organization has its humble beginnings with the parish priest in the basement of St. Mary's Catholic Church. So in May of this year, Pope Francis announced the acceptance of a miracle attributed to the intercession of Father Michael McGivney. This propels this parish priest one step closer to sainthood. So I'm introducing Michael number 2. So Michael Shakely. So a couple of parallels there. He's 5 now. He's born as the youngest son of 13 children. They're in Tennessee. And his father is a knight, an insurance agent as well. And Michael has Down syndrome, which is part of, the Knights have a great advocacy for special needs. So faith is also a fabric of the Shakely family, which is a strong initiative for the Knights of Columbus. So can you play the first video for Michael Shakely?
Good afternoon. Today we're talking with Rick Menz, the Hospitaller for the Charlotte region of the Order of Malta. Rick, what is the Order of Malta, and what in the world is a...
That segment will come shortly. We are uploading the Michael video now. Sorry about that.
Well, let me go on to Michael number 3. We'll just move on.
Thank you.
So Michael number 3 is Saint Michael the Archangel. So the Knights of Columbus has a new initiative that's based upon Saint Michael the Archangel. So the defender of evil, right? The patron saint for soldiers and law enforcement. Saint Michael is the underlying inspiration for a new faith series by the Knights of Columbus called Step into the Breach. So definitely open to all men and women, but not just knights. So it's open to all Catholics to be a part of this. So it's a challenge for all Catholic men, not just knights, right, to step into the breach and become better faith-filled men.
Lacking the knowledge of God, we have no reason to question why bad things happen. So just a couple weeks later, when I came home, we got this 0% chance of survival diagnosis for Michael.
And so Michael was diagnosed with fetal hydrops, which is basically where your body just fills with fluid. And it has a very, 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 very low survival rate.
I decided that, this was probably part of God's plan, whether it was for good or bad. And so I asked Father McGivney to pray for Michael and told him that we would change his name to Michael McGivney Shackle if he did pray for him. If there was ever a baby that Father McGivney would want to help, this would be the one, based on everything that the Knights of Columbus stands for.
One of the things I've pondered is that I never knew the moment when God showed up and healed my child. So to be a mother and then to say that he's healed, it's miraculous.
Our family has had a devotion to Father McGivney for 15 or 20 years, ever since I was Grand Knight. So our little home school was named Father McGivney Academy. But when I read the biography of Father McGivney's life parish priest, I realized, for the first time really, what the Knights of Columbus was actually founded for, was to take care of widows and orphans. He died at 38 years old during a pandemic, trying to care for Catholic families, going around Connecticut, trying to get as many Catholics into the Knights of Columbus as he could. so that their family would be okay. He had adopted children, and he basically worked himself to death by 38 years old trying to not only spiritually but financially take care of Catholic families. I looked at Father McGivney and I looked at what the Knights of Columbus does. I knew that he was the oldest of 13 children and had to leave the seminary to raise his brothers just to keep his own family together. And I had a feeling that he kind of liked us too because of where we were, you know.
From Michael J. McGivney's life, we can take, he inspired married men to not only fight for themselves and for their families, but to be gentle and to help those who are less fortunate. And I think that's really carried over into this whole thing with Michael and the miracle, is that it's like we're all just kind of in awe of what's happening.
No, I think we've all known it was going to happen. We never had any doubt. It was like you couldn't write the story with a human brain any more perfectly than it was written. This is the perfect moment for this.
There is a serious man crisis. 1 in 3 Catholic men that have been baptized have left the faith. If you're a thinking person, you have asked yourself that question, why am I here? To know him, to love him, to serve him. Not only does God have a plan for your life, so does Satan.
I remember I went to confession one time and the priest just looked at me and he said, the devil wants to destroy your family, but he has to come through you to get him.
If I'm a man, I'm called to pass on the faith. If I'm a man, I'm called to live the faith. So I need to know my faith.
Every man needs to walk into that breach and begin to fight that battle, which means you've got to know the power of the Eucharist, the power of prayer.
My rosary beads are the key, and I look at life as spiritual warfare. They're beads for the battle.
A lot of guys are like, I'd be willing to die for that, but they're not willing to live for it. And guess what? If you're not willing to live for it, you probably won't have what it takes to die for it.
Talk isn't cheap. Talk is free. Talk is nothing. I care about you. I love you, right? But then if I'm taking care of myself first and everybody else second, it doesn't matter.
If you're not willing to fight for the truth, what will you fight for? And the answer is oftentimes nothing.
The need in the world is of men among men who can rise higher, who can see further, who can strive more nobly than others. They need not be many, they never were many, but though the few, they will rise and bring with them the whole of humanity.
So those last two videos was the number one was the miracle, right? So that's the Mikey number one. That was the miracle that beatified, or through the intercession of Michael McGivney, was beatified and recognized by the Pope. So the second video was Into the Breach, which is based upon a lot of Saint Michael the Archangel and also Bishop Olmsted's exhortations. So that's the challenge, right? One is the miracle, and the other is the challenge. So thank you for letting me stay here and spend time with you this afternoon. Thank you to Carolina Catholic Radio for putting this all together. Great job. And then I'd like to invite all the viewers and listeners that you can prayerfully consider joining the Knights of Columbus. It's real easy. You can do it online now. And it's kofc.org/join us. It's real easy. So just go online, be able to join, join the men, get behind and stand beside all the Catholic men that are doing something in the world today. So, my fellow brothers, God bless. See you soon. Viva Jesus.
Sergio, thank you so much. Have a good one.